Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm going to talk about choosing the right white paint color every time. So this actually, we just finished, Gabrielle, we turned a double closet into this like an art nook years ago when the kids were little and I was doing, kind of like school work with them, before they went to actual school, elementary school. And it was just a place to kind of keep all the art supplies and just like a place that we could sit down and do those things. And then when I was watching kids here in our home, I used it for the same thing. And Gabrielle, if you follow my Instagram, you know she is like this artist. She's unbelievable. But so we've kept it there, and that's where she likes to do her art and things and create. And so it was kind of time for a little makeover. It just kind of needed to be grown up as she has. We have not changed it in years. And so we did a little makeover in there. And it will be up on my website, mycreativedays.com. So you can see kind of the before and after. But one of the things that we were discussing, she likes to have, she's got a say in it now, right? She's at the age where she's like, no, I kind of want this color. I think it would be better this way. And so, which is super fun for me. And so one of the things we were talking about is the paint color that we were putting on the paneled wall that we were adding to her art nook. And it was a stark white forever, and we wanted to kind of warm it up for the space. And so we changed it to a different color. But it just made me think of, how do you get the right white paint color? And after we literally have painted every single wall in our house at least 5 times. I'm not even kidding. And we have done five flip houses. We had a rental property. And so picking out paint colors is something that I like to do. And so getting the right white paint color can be hard. And it's something that I know some people struggle with. And so I just thought I would kind of share some of these tips to make sure you're getting the right white paint color for the space that you're doing. And so this can be for an entire room, or like I said, the art nook is just a closet that we converted into an art nook. Like it doesn't have to be an entire room, but Number one is consider the natural lighting. So the natural lighting can greatly affect the space that you're in. And so or the lack of natural lighting. Like her art nook where it is, there's no natural lighting, right? So we knew that the color that we picked, like that was going to make a difference, right? So you definitely want to consider the natural lighting you get in the space, and then you're gonna test the paint samples, which is that, paint samples is another tip. Like get samples. Do not go out and buy 3 gallons of paint. Get a sample, and then you want to test it at different lighting conditions throughout the day, right? So your room is going to look, if you have natural light or not, your room is going to look different in the morning, the afternoon, and the night. So definitely you want to see what that looks like throughout the day. Understand undertones. This is a huge one that, like it happened in my mom's bathroom, but it was with grays, which this works with grays. It works with kind of like the beige colors and white colors. It's the undertones. So my mom thought she was getting a light gray color for her bathroom. And when I went to see it, I said, oh my gosh, you decided on purple. And she said, what? It's still a running joke that we have. And I'm like, it's purple. And she's like, no, it isn't. It's gray. I'm like, no, Mom, you picked a gray that really has a lot of purple undertones. And so when she got it on the wall in a tiny bathroom, it really looked purple. So even greens and if you watch my YouTube channel, I kind of talked about, I just went through some of my favorite green colors, and I did some white color samples. And I showed what I meant when I said, now, do you see, like, as you put this green on, it kind of leans a little bit blue. And so understanding those undertones. And when you get samples, it's the best when you get samples and you can put them next to each other, on a space on the wall that's got good lighting, natural or not, it's whatever the lighting you have in the room. You will definitely, when you get them together, that's how you can really start learning, you'll start learning and seeing the undertones, like, oh, that one's a lot more purple than this one. This one's a little pink. This one's more yellow. So definitely understanding those undertones, that can make the biggest difference right there. And it's something that we did in Gabrielle's Art Nook. I put a couple of different colors on the wall right next to each other, but they were different colors, but it's just, you could see, okay, in this lighting, because she doesn't have any natural lighting, this really looks dark green, or you know what I mean? So you definitely, if you can put samples together right next to each other, that will really help in the lighting that you have to see the different undertones. Test in different areas. So this is more for like a full room, right? If you're going to paint a full room in a white paint color, put a sample on each wall, and just see just a little small section, not too small. I'll get to that in the next one, but, just paint a small section in different areas so you can kind of see the color against your furniture, against the, the woodwork, the trim, and all of that, all around the room. Use large samples. So I have seen people, they will have like the smallest little square on a wall, and it's like, how can you even tell, that you like this color, that this color looks good? I mean, you've got to do, 8 by 11 or a little bit bigger. If you think like a piece of paper, at least do that. If not a little larger, it just is going to give you a better, area to look at and a better view of what the color is. Compare it to existing colors. So hold the paint samples against your existing wall colors, your furniture, your fabric. Now, the paint samples that you're picking up in the store, they're going to look so different they are going to look so different from the paper and getting them on the wall. So that is just a little, to compare a little bit. Like, do not go by the sample colors on the little samples, the cards at the store. Don't go by that color. You're going to look at those first, right, to kind of narrow things down, but then get the samples and get them on your walls. They could look exactly like, the sample, the paper cardstock, at your mom's house, but then you go and put it on your wall and it's like, wait a minute. No, this doesn't even look like that. Every house, every room, every wall is going to look different, but that's a good way to kind of narrow it down. Consider the mood. So different white paint colors evoke different moods. And so when we were doing Gabrielle's Art Nook, she really kind of wanted a calm, she wanted a little bit more mature, color on the walls. And so we went with a really warm, it's called Endless Shores, but it's really kind of a beige white. And so it's so pretty. It's so pretty, but different white paint colors evoke different moods. Crisp whites create a clean, modern look, and where warmer whites can make a space feel cozier. And that's exactly what she got in the Art Nook. Test at different times. I kind of talked about this. You definitely want to look at it throughout the day. Do not put a paint sample on the wall and then make the decision right then. First of all, you need the paint sample to dry to see it in its full. And you may need to do a couple of coats to make sure you're covering up what's underneath it to really get to see the color. So, but look at it all day long. You're not going to paint the room the first day you're putting the samples on. You need to look at it at different times. And then kind of check it with the other elements. People just look at your sample on the wall, but look at that color with the flooring you have, the cabinets you may have in the room, the fixtures you have in the room, the trim you have in the room. Like, all of those things should complement those, rather than clashing with them. go for depth. So instead of choosing just a stark pure white, maybe choose a white with a touch of color. Maybe it's got a subtle gray or beige or grayish undertone. This can just add a little bit of depth and just prevent your space from feeling too sterile, right? Too stark. And then lastly, obviously, you can seek professional advice if you want to go there, but you don't have to. You do not have to. Use these tips first and you will find the best color for your space. I promise. And the more you're doing it, the easier it gets. And you will come away finding your favorite colors. So like if you move, you're like, okay, definitely the white paint color we're using is this. You will come away with your favorites for sure. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if it is. If you have a favorite white paint color, let me know what it is. Email me, Lindsay@mycreativedays.com. Reach out to me on Instagram @mycreativedays. I love hearing from you. Tell me what other topics or tips or ideas or podcast episodes you'd like to hear. I love getting feedback from you, and it's super helpful for me knowing what kinds of things you would like to hear here on the podcast. So until next time, I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you very soon. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.